The Latin word dulcis means soft, sweet, and pleasing. It's why we might refer to a woman's beautiful singing voice as having a dulcet tone. It's why there's a Spanish dessert called dulce de leche, sweet milk. Based on that etymology, today's guest plays a sweet instrument. I'm Brian Johnson, and this is Nobody You Know. Hello and welcome to this week's episode of Nobody You Know, and I am back for my second adventure in Prineville, Oregon, about 20 minutes away from my hometown. And today's guest is Colleen Holbrook. And like Fred from a couple episodes ago, we met at a sort of variety talent show in Prineville, and her cat is sniffing my microphone.
Yep,
Hello.
You'll do that, Taz.
I saw Colleen playing an instrument I had never seen before and decided I just wanted to talk about that and how she got involved with it. So, Colleen, welcome to Nobody You Know.
Thank you.
And what have we got here? You told me it was a dulcimer at the time.
There's a couple of different kinds of dulcimers. A lot of people have seen the hammer dulcimer variety. Excuse you, Taz. And at folk festivals and fairs, and that's the trapezoid sort of shaped thing up on a flat platform where they use mallets.
Yeah, I have seen those. Yep.
I don't happen to play one of those; they're a little bit harder. This one's called a mountain dulcimer or a lap dulcimer. Pretty much when the people started coming over here on ships from England, Ireland, Scotland, Wales, they didn't have a lot of room on the ships to bring their pianos and their bagpipes and their harpsichords and things that they might entertain themselves with.
Right.
Just maybe enough to carry an extra pair of underwear and the food they needed to eat on the long journey. And when they got here, they had to figure out how to survive. So entertainment wasn't the top of their list.
Right.
And music and that sort of thing. Once people began to go west, and there were many that were heading west and then just stopped at the Appalachian Mountains because, hey, it's a beautiful place, nobody's here. Well, very few people. And they finally figured out how to feed themselves and build shelter, and then they needed to have some entertainment. So they invented, there's a lot of similar lutes and lyres and different things from all over Europe. There are other instruments that look similar to this, but this particular shape and style was invented here in America in the Appalachian Mountains.
Yeah, so obviously it's inspired by instruments they already knew, but this
Certainly.
was actually developed on American soil. Okay.
Right.
And how did you get involved?
Can we turn the clock back a long, long way?
I won't say how
way
far, but
back
sure.
to college years. I had a friend, roommate, people down the hall. We were all Girl Scouts and campfire girls, and we all played guitars and auto harps and different instruments and would play folk songs from the 60s and 70s. And a friend of mine built, actually, that one
Hold
on
on
the wall.
just a second. Now you're moving my microphone.
I'm going to get crazy about this. So this one up here on the wall, I don't know if you can see it, or I can bring it down
I'll
a minute.
get a shot of it.
That's one that my friend Darcy Fuchs built for me with her dad that year in college. And we played and goofed around. We didn't really have lessons. We kind of could play a little by ear. And after college, she went on to teach deaf education in Bellingham. And I moved down to Aberdeen and Portland and John Day. We kind of went our separate ways. But thanks to Facebook, we found each other again about 5-6 years ago. So then we played her dulcimers. She had two with her. And my husband looked at me the day after she left and said, well, when are you getting one? I said, happy to get one right now. So we looked on Craigslist and we found this one from a teacher who had retired over in Redmond. Never met her before, but she had a good price on it. And then I kind of piddled around, looked inside. There are people who are in the dulcimer world that know the brand names and the famous luthiers that build these. I'm not one of those.
Hold on. What's a luthier? A player of a dulcimer?
Sure. No, a luthier is one who builds wooden stringed instruments. So guitars, violins, anything that would be in the string family is a luthier. They have groups of people that are able to go and jam together, and they play a lot of old-timey, old Joe Clark, and I've been working on the railroad and different, old-time songs like that, which is kind of where it came from. And we learned a lot of different styles and a lot of different types of songs at Dulcimer Camp. I got to go the next summer and the summer after that. So I've had 2 summers of about a week long of lessons.
You say you've also played the guitar. How similar are like the strings and their the fretting and the fingering and stuff like
Completely different, but the same.
Okay.
Kind of weird. Kind of weird that way. Clearly, you don't hold a dulcimer like you do a guitar.
Right.
They make them kind of wide. Well, that one's a little skinnier at the top, but it's just meant to be on your lap, hence lap dulcimer, and able to play it and look at your fingers, which is what I really like. You can see what you're doing when you're playing.
Mm-hmm.
And the strings, there are several different modes, they call them, of tuning. This one, I've only used one mode myself. I have not tried to vary into other modes, but there's 4 strings.
Mm-hmm.
And this one is the drone string. That's a D. The middle string is an A. And then these 2 little ones, there's 2 because they're really high and they're really quiet.
And they're right next to each other.
Yeah, so you play them as though they were one string.
Okay.
Like if you have a 12-string guitar, you're putting one finger on 2 strings all the way around it. So
you are effectively playing a 3-stringed instrument.
Correct.
This one just enables the highest note to be heard better.
Yeah, a little more volume.
Okay.
That's all. This particular one, I tell my kids at school when they have never seen this before, and I'm strumming, it's already tuned to a D chord.
Okay.
So it sounds lovely. You sound
That's
like a
its
musical
natural.
genius when you just strum across those strings. Whereas when you play a guitar across its open strings, it's kind of a meh.
It's not a just by
not a
itself.
pretty
It's,
sound.
No. Okay.
So this already sounds wonderful. And then you can play simple songs with just one finger.
Okay. There's almost a bagpipe drone that way.
Exactly
that lowest
right.
note just hums right along.
That's
Okay.
the drone, and that's the Celtic influence. When they invented dulcimers, everyone that travels far from home misses their home, misses their music, misses their food.
Mm-hmm.
So they put that droney sound in there. It lends itself to a lot of different styles of music.
Okay.
I don't happen to play a lot of rock and roll. Kids at high school will be like, "Can you play Black Sabbath?" or something really ridiculous like that. And some people can play more harder playing songs.
Yeah.
But I'm not a real fast-paced player.
Well, you said it lends itself to a lot of different styles. I'm trying to picture that because I can imagine kind of a folk dance kind of thing, early Western country, not our modern country, but hoedowns and things like that.
Yeah, exactly, those kind of songs.
Would anyone in their right mind play Black Sabbath on that?
Yeah, and I've heard Stairway to Heaven and then Starry, Starry Night. It's
Okay.
a pretty one on there. I know people can play that. Beatles songs, we did Here Comes the Sun. So
that I can picture because they had
there's a lot of guitar.
They went through
in there,
went through big transformation over the course of their whole career, and some of their stuff I can imagine that happening.
Well, we
Okay.
also actually at Dulcimer Camp one year we all played Fade to Black, which I don't remember how to play it.
I
but it's
can't say I've
another one
even
of
heard of
those,
it, but
Mick Jagger or something.
Oh, okay.
Just think Mick Jagger.
I'm
Like
trying
Jagger.
to picture these rock
I got
stars.
the moves like Jagger right here on my dulcimer. Somehow it doesn't seem to want to come from me.
No,
anyway.
I don't know.
Not so much. Hymns and sacred songs, things like that.
That makes sense to me. Yeah.
Especially if it's something like Amazing Grace. So it has that nice droning sound. And
There's a little bit of guitar where you strum. There's a little bit of, I guess, like banjo where you'd pick a particular note.
Sure.
It's just a little of everything all thrown into one.
Which makes it a really useful all-purpose instrument
it
for the most part.
Because when I heard you playing at the variety show, to my mind, just in that one setting before all of this description, it would be very much like a Renaissance Baroque instrument.
Definitely.
Okay.
Definitely. You can play Scarborough Fair and Greensleeves and those types of ones that we know today.
Did I see you pluck one or two notes with the left hand? Or
Yeah,
is that
those
just...
are hammer-ons or pull-offs.
Okay.
Because then that helps that you're not having to... a lot of folks only use... Well, a lot of folks don't even use a thumb pick. I'm kind of weird. I use thumb picks because I lose regular flat picks, as evidenced by my little credit card corner.
Whatever it takes.
All my regular flat picks are missing because I get busy, I get distracted, I set them down, and then I can't find them. So a lot of people would more rather play either just with their fingers And pretty much it's just these two fingers. Or they'll do strumming. No, I don't do it that way so it doesn't sound so great.
Okay.
Because I haven't practiced much that way.
What's your preference for the thumb picks that just keep
It's just so I don't lose it.
So you don't callus your...
Just so that I know where it's at.
Oh, okay.
For volume, you use a... I certainly can pick just... But it's softer.
Okay.
And I don't happen to have a amplifier pick up anything on this instrument, so it helps with the volume.
Okay, yep. Well, yeah, I mean, short of the fact that it has no neck to hold on to, it just very much looks and sounds like something that you'd see like a medieval...
yeah, definitely.
What word do I want?
Renaissance fair.
Not
fair,
a jester.
No?
The
madrigals.
troubadour, madrigal. There we
Yes,
go.
exactly.
Yeah. Okay. At the variety show, you were wearing an outfit. Do you do this for hire? Is this part of a presentation
nobody's
of yours?
hired me yet. No, but
Okay.
I'm willing to negotiate.
I just have one question about the technique. Like when bagpipers are playing, it's actually part of their style to throw in like a little trill. So you get bam bram 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 bram. You had a little of that going on there.
Yep.
Is that?
That's a traditional kind of thing to do.
Okay.
A lot of those songs where I was explaining that many dulcimer songs have part A and part B, and you play the part A two times, like I just did, and then the second part sounds slightly different, and you play that part twice, and you go back and do it the whole set over again. The idea is you start off fairly simple at the beginning, and then as you go, you embellish, and you add more of those fancy little notes, and more of those fancy little hammer-ons and pull-offs and trills and whatnot. And that just kind of shows off your skills as a dulcimer player. And you can play with people who are not very well advanced either. You play the same simple jam song, and if you're more advanced, you can be adding extra little notes in there that don't clash with those who are just simply playing the basic structure of the song.
You may have just answered my question then, or what was going to be my next question. How much of that is improv? Like the old classical pieces in Mozart's day, they'd reach a point where it just said violin plays cadenza, and the violinist would go
Goes off and does it. I try to follow what the music is as it's been presented to me. I play more by ear than by tablature, which is a different type of music that's written for dulcimers. It doesn't look like tabs for guitars. It looks different. But I listen to those who are better than I am, or have recorded. It's on YouTube. People that I learned from also have YouTube channels, and I can play along with them. And then I hear those extra little things and add them in. So some of them might be a little bit me, but I try to do it like they do it because they're the professionals.
but a skilled dulcimer player will start adding just the little ornaments.
Yeah, exactly.
All by himself. It's not written in the music.
Sure.
Okay.
Well, this little baby I saw on eBay, and you know how auctions go. And lots of dulcimers are not super expensive. The one I was just holding, bought secondhand from a teacher who was willing to part with it for a reasonable amount. It was $150 for that, with the case and the books and some CD. I mean, the whole 9 yards. It was great. Yeah. This one started auction at $150, but I do know that they can go up much higher than that. Now, this doesn't seem to have a signature on it. There are McSpadden, there are Folkcraft, there are many, many names that, like I said, the professionals all know about that, and I'm not familiar with them. So it's a bit of a risk when you buy an instrument online, because you're like, what if it's just a piece of garbage? What if it doesn't sound good? The person that sold it didn't know anything about dulcimers, which is, they probably inherited it from somebody, or somebody gave it to them, and they didn't know, and they didn't want to have it anymore. So looking at it, at the photographs online, I can kind of tell it's a fairly good quality looking instrument. Again, can't tell how it sounds until I play it, but It has these nice mother of pearl gear tuners and these fixtures here, and I don't even know all the words for some of that. It's got the nice curled head that I like on instruments like this. Very distinct, not the four hearts, which is very typical and very traditional for Appalachian mountain dulcimers. So I just kind of liked it. I'm kind of excited about figuring out what this one, the voice is what they call that, how it sounds, so it's a little bit brighter.
Do you mind if I pick the other one up?
Yeah, please do.
All right, play yours. There seems to be, and of course maybe it could be just my total inexperience in even strumming one of these things. That seems to be a little bit richer.
That
fuller,
one or this
that
one? Something. Brighter or
There's
richer or something. I
yeah,
think probably Steve's going to help me with those words.
Do it one more time.
There is a difference.
Something's there.
A lot of it is just a personal preference, if you like how it sounds.
Yeah. Is the overhand approach the general way?
That's the only way to do it. Yes, it is. Well, that I've ever seen. And if you're playing by ear, when you play a stringed instrument, you'll put your finger down. Again, we're doing the melody strings, which are 2, so you want to remember to push hard enough. Fairly close to that metal bar called a fret, so that it changes the pitch.
Right.
When it's open, this one here is what gives you the pitch, but then you put your finger next to the bar. Oops. And it raises it.
So you said this one does not do a proper full scale.
Well, because it's tuned in D.
Ooh.
There it is. That was that off one was the 6.5, which you actually need if you're going to have a sharp or a flat in your song.
Okay, but the whole standard scale was there.
It is. It is.
I just have to skip.
Right, but we're also starting in D rather than in C.
Right, okay.
So if you're playing along with something on guitar or piano, you got to make sure you're in the same key.
Okay, yeah.
For all that kind of thing.
Mary Had a Little Lamb starts on the 3rd?
2nd fret.
Right, 2nd fret would be, on a piano, it would be the 3rd note, though,
would be
of the chord.
F.
Yeah, so means I have to subtract 1 off everything I would think of.
Because he's a piano guy. Nice. Very good. Awesome.
Finish off with a full chord there.
There you go.
Well, I think that just about covers it. Especially if I'm going to keep this episode down under, an hour, an epic.
Pretty sure you have enough you can cut out.
Adventure into dulcimer music. So we'll go ahead and fade in my absolutely obnoxious banjo music instead as I wrap it and say thank you for joining me on Nobody You Know.
You're very welcome.
And this was the mountain dulcimer?
Yes.
Mountain dulcimer. All right. Maybe someday I'll find someone with a hammer dulcimer and we can just...
That would be cool to jam together. I haven't jammed with anybody
quite
on
the episode there.
for a while.
If you enjoyed today's episode, make sure you click the like button. If you enjoy the channel, click the subscribe button and the bell to get notifications every time I upload a new episode, which, if all goes well, is always every Tuesday at 6 p.m. Pacific time. If you would like to be on the program, make sure you email me at 10thandfur@outlook.com. Of course, as I've said before, right now I am an absolute no-budget operation, so I can't go far from Central Oregon. Those of you out in New York, you'll have to wait until I have some reason to be out there to get you on the program. But send me your ideas. Let's talk. Let's see if we can get you on the show. I'm Brian Johnson. This is Nobody You Know, only now you do.